Hey, sports fans, how you doing? Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. This is Jim for the 3 Minute AD, and again, we're going to try to step it up a little bit more on this. I know it's been a rather busy time. We just got back from the National Athletic Directors Conference in Orlando, Florida, and it was a lot of fun. It was busy, but we're going to go a little longer than 3 minutes today because we just need to really talk about something that's just sitting there. And I'm so guilty of not following my own wishes and desires. Some of you may know that we just finished presenting for the first time nationally LTC 717, a leadership training course identifying the need for and affecting change in athletic administration. And the team and I worked for 2 years on putting this course together on how to affect change. And one of the biggest things that we've been trying to affect change with is with New York State Ed and mandatory certification for athletic directors. We just watched Governor Hochul sign into law a little thing recognizing that athletic trainers are now able to do proper concussion management, as they were left out of the original concussion pieces before. But yet here we go again. Who's managing the athletic trainer? It's the athletic director. Still today, the only non-certified position necessary for the job in education. Cafeteria workers, bus drivers, custodians, not to downplay their roles because they're major roles in a school district, but the athletic director from dawn to dusk and past dusk manages the entire athletic department. And think about what we did to get to where we're at. In New York, we all needed to have administrative certification. So whether we did it as a master's degree or as a second master's or as additional coursework, that money spent, which 10, 15, 20, 25, 35, $40,000 for that education gave us nothing that applies to the job of an athletic director, except maybe a little bit in the law course. When we talk about school law, there's certainly some things in there that we can apply into the athletic world, because again, I go back to our number one duty: reduce our district's vulnerability to litigation. That's our prime directive when we deal with these things. But where is everyone else here? New York State Public High School should be supporting us. If I look around the room on that board, the representative board, there are a dozen athletic directors that sit on that board that met out the rules for New York State. The tie-in with the Activities Association, as is with other states, needs to be a little more joined. We need to carry the mantle further. We've dealt with commissioners that have come and gone, and we were just told recently that our push for mandatory certification was dead on arrival. I don't get it. I really and truly don't get it. And yeah, I'm upset. Yeah, I'm retired. Does it really matter to me? No, I'm the associate director of the association. But it's not about that. It's about the recognition that the job of the athletic director requires more than just, hey, you take care of it, I trust you. When we did the class for the first time, it talked about how we make changes. And did we as a team do a good job of identifying the stakeholders? Did we identify the antagonists correctly? No, we didn't do that. So we didn't even follow our own process, and I'll take the blame for that. Because in order to affect that kind of change, we've got to get back to square one and re-educate everyone on what needs to be done. But we are still learning who the antagonists are. The antagonists, and not in a negative way of saying that they're, it's anti, just lacking the context and the knowledge of what an athletic director does. And I'm going to go right to the superintendents. I've been published in their newsletter. I've spoken at their conferences. We've had a couple of our ADs get involved in that part. Yes, sure, there's a fear factor there. Maybe I'm working now without fear because, again, I'm retired. But I'm not afraid of retribution from the superintendents. What I'm more afraid of is that they're just not listening. But it's going to take us, the 800 athletic directors, or almost 800 that are members of our association right now, to really start that letter writing campaign, to really start to push your officials to understand what an athletic director does. It's not just putting air in the basketball and making sure the uniforms are ordered. It's more than that, and we know it. You know, when we taught the class, we had certain things we wanted people to identify with in the class. We had over 50 attendees, and the last two questions I asked to have people stand up, if this applied to you, was, have you missed one of your kids' games? And just about everyone stood up in the room at that point. Just about everyone stood up in the room. And the ones that didn't stand up, maybe they didn't have kids, or maybe they were fortunate enough to have gone to every one of their kids' games. The last question I asked, have you ever worked on a Sunday in your job? Again, 95% of the people stood up. When a superintendent or a principal or an assistant superintendent or a board member shows up on a Sunday, it's for an event that we're probably running, that we're probably in charge of, that we got there at 7 a.m. to make sure it was set up correctly, even though it doesn't start till noon. We pull away from our families to do these things. And like you say, well, you have to consider family first. And I know when we go through all these interviews and everybody talks about, no, take care of your family first. Okay, fine. I can't come Sunday. I go to church. I have a family dinner. My grandmother's coming over, or we have to go see a relative in another county. Do you think that's tolerated? Because Monday morning, the first question they'll ask us is, where were you? Why weren't you there yesterday? Well, I told you I had things to do. Yeah, but still, we needed you there because this happened. Even though I had told people what to do, still, you have to trust that they're going to do it for you. We're on an island. We shouldn't leave these jobs, though. We should take the challenges that are given to us. We should take the adversity and deal with it, because if they can see how we work with adversity, then somebody might learn from it, especially the kids, because we're there for the kids first. That's it. Bottom line, we're there for the kids first. But if we're recognized as certified athletic administrators by the state, taking courses that actually do apply to our job to get better, then we need to be recognized. And I'm going to leave you with that thought. I'm going to leave you with the thought of, have a conversation with your superintendent. Trust that they want to know what you do. Trust that they want you to get better at your job. Hey, we're looking at a lack of coaches, a lack of trainers, a lack of bus drivers, a lack of officials. And guess what? There's going to be a lack of athletic directors down the road. Our aspiring program, we could have a dozen people in the aspiring program. Some are testing the waters. Some actually want to be athletic directors, but we could have a dozen in the class. There could be 40 openings next year in New York State. Where are we getting those athletic directors from? We're branching out into the PSAL to help those athletic directors now. There's 250 schools in New York City that we don't even touch, but they need the same help, and they need the same recognition, and certification is the key. It's only a few courses, guys. If you haven't taken them, start taking them. It's going to make you better, but tell your superintendent why you're taking them. I'm sorry to belabor this. I want to end the year on a good note. There was a great conference at the National. A lot of positives came out of it, but if we're going to change something, we have to work together to make that change. And I'm going to leave you with having a happy new year. I know it's a little bit of anger at the end of the year, but it's really meant for all of us to really know that we're all rowing the boat in the same direction. And that's the push for mandatory certification in New York State and nationally once we get the ball rolling. So listen, guys, have a happy new year. I hope you had a happy holiday, and it's a great week to be off. You can look at this after the new year starts, but let's kick 2024 off with a bang and make that push. It takes one letter to the legislature, one letter to state ed. Jeffrey Madison, Dr. Jeffrey Madison is the new deputy commissioner. I was told that he'll listen. Dr. Jeffrey Madison at state ed, brand new, but he will listen. We're not dead on arrival. I don't care what anybody says. You can be flippant about it and say whatever you think you need to say, but our advocate in state ed needs to understand that we're a force to be reckoned with. God bless you all. Happy New Year. It's Jim for the 3-Minute AD. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in 2024. All the best. God bless you all.